Welcome back to Therapy Tea, y'all. Hey, Jazmin, how you be?
Hi, I'm okay.
Yay!
How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
okay.
nice.
I just want to make an announcement for all of y'all who can't see us and never will see us. I cut all my hair off and I have very short hair,
Yeah,
and it's awesome for the summer.
killing it. Yeah, highly recommend everybody do that in Texas. All the girls just cut all your hair off.
I mean, it'll grow back, you know?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
This
just
is
do the
this is
thing.
the shortest I think my hair has been since I was, like, in charge of, my own hair. Like, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure my mom cut my hair really short several times when I was younger. She gave me bangs one time, the worst.
Ooh,
My hair should not
whoa.
be in bangs. I have a weird calic. But anyway, this is, like, the shortest I've ever gone, and I I have mixed emotions about it. On the one hand,
Okay.
now that I've, like, lived in it for, like, a week, okay? So, like, on the one hand, it's great. I don't use a lot of shampoo, it's very, like, not on my neck. I have very thick hair, so it's, like, definitely cooler, but it's so short that it can't, like, go into a ponytail
Uh-huh.
100%. So, like, then when you're, like, doing things like putting on makeup or, like, washing your face, like, hair gets in there.
Yeah,
And so then I'm having to figure out, like, what to do. Do I use a clip? Do I use, like, a headband? Do I use both? Like, because it doesn't get all the hair, just some of it, right?
yeah.
So it's a learning process that I'm going through right now.
I kinda refuse to cut my hair. I'm not in Texas, so my thing doesn't apply to me because I have
Mm,
really thin hair,
ugh.
and it just doesn't work.
Like, having short hair doesn't work?
Yeah. I had short hair for, like, most of my life, and I as an adult, I'm like, I just look better with long blonde hair, and I feel like my long blonde hair makes me feel very powerful,
Mm,
and yeah,
I love
and I
that.
need it. Yeah, Karen doesn't need
Yeah.
to like, Karen has this internal power, so not to and so honestly, what probably happens is, like, the short hair just complements that.
Mm,
No, it looks good,
yeah,
though. It's the shortest I've ever seen it, for sure.
yeah. It's the shortest it's ever been. Still getting used to it, but yeah. Anyway, so sorry, guys, not a visual podcast, but just thought we'd throw in a little visual information. Just imagine.
Yeah. Let's see
Imagine.
everybody's like, if you guys wanna just so we'll make it relevant. Here we go. If you want to reach out to us, if you want to while you're liking and giving us 5 stars, or you wanna send a comment or something like that, we would love to see pictures of your summer haircut.
Ooh,
If you need someone to gush about your summer haircut, we'll gush about your summer haircut. Yeah,
I
totally.
love that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm into it. All right, photos. Okay. What are we talking about this week, Jazz?
This week, we are talking to a very fun person who I very much enjoyed. This week, we're sharing our conversation with Caitlin DeWeese, who is a licensed professional counselor in Texas. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Education and Spanish from Baylor University and a Master of Arts in Professional Counseling from Texas State University in San Marcos. Shout out. An
Go Bobcat.
alumnus. Go Bobcats. Eat 'em up. Caitlin is currently in private practice based in Austin, Texas. Her practice is called Live Better Austin Therapy, and she focuses on working with neurodivergence and providing ADHD and autism assessments for adults, which is something that I think a lot of people want to do.
Which part? The having ADHD or autism or getting assessed?
Assessments.
Doing assessments.
Like, other people, I mean, like, other clinicians. I
Oh,
know I've been
yeah.
really I love assessment. I love it.
Well, that was my favorite thing about our conversation with Caitlin was I think there is sometimes so much misconception and misunderstanding about the different kind of mental health professionals and like what does this kind do versus that kind, and I think a
Yeah,
lot of people presume that only psychologists are able to do assessments, and that is not true at
totally.
all.
Yeah.
Like, there are different assessments have different levels of education that are required by the assessment, right? So the assessment
Sure.
sets that, right? Like,
Okay. Right.
each assessment is gonna be, created by whoever created it, and they're gonna say, like, "In order to give this assessment, you need to have XYZ level of training and, whatever, level of education, level of licensure," that kinda stuff. But the misconception is that all assessments have to be done by, like, a doctorate level professional, and that's not true. There's
No.
tons and tons and tons of assessments that can be done and are completely appropriate to be done by master's level clinicians, which is what most LPCs are, most LMFTs are, most LCSWs are. So as
Mhm.
long as you get the kind of training in that particular assessment and it is the assessment itself says like it's this level, and I think it's level B actually. If you know, don't quote me on this, but I think level C is doctorate level and level B is master's level, and that's us. Then you could give assessments. I mean, we took a whole class in assessments,
I know.
like
Yeah.
that's like a part of our degree. So like obviously we can give assessments, but maybe it just isn't as common as people realize or as applicable to our profession as people realize. Or maybe people get
Listen,
used to doing like just the basics. Like I'm just going to do like an assessment to see if you've got depression. Like I'm doing a Beck depression inventory and that's what everybody thinks that you could do. But actually, we can do ADHD and autism assessments as well
yep.
at our level.
Yep.
So Caitlin really dispelling that was really helpful, I think.
So helpful and empowering, absolutely,
Mhm,
because
mhm,
we are, like, people do need more accessible assessments, and
mhm.
frankly, it is just not reasonable to get on a wait list for, sometimes 6,
Yeah.
8 months for you to take this 5-hour take a day off
Yeah, like
work
a full
assessment.
battery
Yeah.
of psychological evaluation. Like, you don't need all that.
No.
Like, there's lots of people that just don't need all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Or who can't afford that. I mean, who
Yeah. Oh,
desperately
yeah.
needs services, but, like, can't
Yeah.
afford that.
It's like
Yeah.
thousands of
Yeah.
dollars
Right.
for a full psychological assessment with a psychologist. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Also, don't even get me started on the whole, like, counselors versus psychologists thing, because 'cause I'm about to turn this into a whole ass feminist issue. But that's for another day, because we got other shit to talk about.
Oh, yes. So we need to get into what you've learned. So before we talk to Caitlin, guys, Jasmine, what have you learned this week about counseling?
I learned about transitions. So
Your
fun.
favorite. Your
My
favorite.
favorite. I love it. Everybody's favorite. Everyone just does super well with transitions, including me. I got a new job and so that
Woo!
means thank you. I've been working hard for something like this and it's finally happening. Shoot high, you guys. Shoot high. Even if you don't think you're qualified, just throw that resume
Why?
out there, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Because
real.
we need more representation. Okay. So I got a new job and so that means that I have to leave my practice that I'm currently with, which I am currently seeing clients virtually and for the most part, I have a couple of teen clients, but for the most part, I see adults, parents, and like I said, all virtual. And I'm realizing that this is like one of the first jobs that I've ever had that like my clients, like I'm leaving my clients, but my clients are like out in the free, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, they're just not hospitalized or they're, like, I've said
Institutionalized in some way.
right, right, like, I've said goodbye to so many clients, but it wasn't always like, I would say
It's like,
most of the
"I'm
time
leaving, but you're not."
yeah, or more often is they left, like, my
Yeah,
clients left because,
sure.
I mean so the temporary nature of counseling was very obvious,
Yeah.
it's like 6, 8 months, and then
Mhm.
that's it, that's our whole relationship, and I've always felt relatively comfortable with that, but now this is, like, my first I've never really done outpatient work to this extent where some of these people I've been seeing for, I mean, years now, and it's been interesting. It's very unexpected. I've gotten, like, mixed things, like, some people that I had no idea enjoyed seeing me so much are like, "What?" And then other people are like, "Okay, yeah, good for you, girl, I'm sad, but I'm also happy." Like, it's so fascinating, and I come every time I have to terminate, I come back to, like, the little yearly termination or semesterly termination talk that we had in class,
Mhm, mhm.
and it's just never that way.
Never, never.
No, try to tell a full-ass grown adult that you've been seeing for the past 3 years and talking about their childhood trauma, like, try to tell them that we'll do a goodbye activity, you know? They're gonna be like, "Jasmine, shut the fuck up. Can we just be sad?"
Yeah.
Which I would prefer. Yeah,
Or
so
mad. Mad, maybe?
or mad.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah, I have
Mhm.
yeah. That's another thing too, like, that I think people that I never I'm always caught off guard by is, like, the anger of,
Mm,
like, a change in my environment, like, this
yeah,
person that I have trusted and that I've created a relationship with is now leaving, and
yeah,
it is a growth moment for clients, but it is also a real struggle for them too, and I find that, like, our conversations are just a little bit different. Like, in some ways, they're much more intense,
yeah,
and then in other ways, like, I can feel the pulling back,
yeah,
you know? It's fascinating, and I don't always feel the need to kinda bring it into the room, which is also something new for me because, it's like and that's another thing, like, I c you we don't have time for this. Like, we don't have time to process this to its entirety. A lot of this is gonna have to be done on your own.
yeah.
So,
Or there's a real deadline here, right? Like
yeah.
in your case, right? You're transitioning out and the deadline is what it is. So, as much as it in other types of counseling work, it's like, well, we could take as much time as we want, XYZ issue. Well,
Yeah.
no, not on this one,
No.
right? This one
No.
there's a
Yeah.
deadline we have to process or talk about or plan for, you know,
Yeah.
there's a hard timeline,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That we're working with.
Right. And another thing that they don't teach you in grad school that I think everybody should, especially if you want to be in private practice or a group practice, you want to be in that outpatient setting, getting referrals, like in my
For
case,
them, you mean? Like,
for
for
like
to give your clients?
35
Yeah.
people is a huge undertaking.
Yeah, totally.
I had no idea. So that's taking up a lot of time.
Not getting paid
Yeah.
for that, huh, Jess?
Not getting paid for that. Not getting paid for that, not getting paid for talks with all the other
Yeah.
therapists that I'm doing to try to see if they're a good fit. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna just be like, "Okay, bye." I wanna
Or
actually,
hand
like,
the
mindfully pick someone.
yeah, it sounds like you're not wanting to, like, just give them like, a list of, like, "Here's 5 therapists, pick one." Like, you're really
Right.
trying to be very thoughtful about that transition with them.
Yeah, but I work for a very big practice that has a lot of clinicians. I also happen to have a fairly large network in the Houston and Austin area as far as out clinicians that, we've spoken to and that I
Yeah.
know, personally
Mhm.
outside of my job. So there's also that. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it is a whole process in and of itself. And it's
Yeah.
very delicate because you have a lot of abandonment issues coming up and I've also noticed, so this is my last thing I'll say on it. I've also noticed that like therapy is hard now. Like I am like, oh my God, the other day I had like 6 sessions and normally I need a minute, but I can bounce back. But there's like this pulling all day of
You
just
mean,
like,
like, the work itself has changed
yeah,
in how it
yeah.
feels for you as
Like I
you're
said, the
mhm.
intensity kinda goes up and down and, like,
Mm,
kinda depending on what people are struggling with and abandonment issues come in all shapes,
mm,
forms, and sizes, everybody has them to some extent,
sure.
and so, it's really interesting. I, like, found myself at the end of the day, I was like, "I gotta go to bed." Like, I gotta go to bed.
Do
So
you
I
think
just, like
some of that is the time pressure, the time crunch? Like, do you think some of the intensity that you're dealing with is
Oh,
related to
yes.
the sense
Yes.
that, like, there's
Yes.
a deadline, we know it, it's
Yes.
looming?
Yes, I'm leaving in, like,
Mm,
a month. Like, I've been
yeah.
working on this for, like, the past 2 months. Thankfully, my
Mhm.
new job gave me a lot of transition time, and, yeah, I've been working on this for a while, and now
Yeah.
it's just it also kinda feels like a betrayal in a lot of ways, like,
To
I'm
them?
also
Yeah.
struggling well,
To them or to you?
for
Mm.
me, like, not because of them, but because of my choice, like,
Yeah.
people are having such strong reactions sometimes, and then I'm
Mm.
thinking like, "Oh, fuck."
Like,
Like,
you feel guilty?
I feel guilty. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I get that.
It's just a lot to carry, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of, like, weird extra baggage that I don't actually know how to carry, and we don't.
Maybe you didn't expect that either?
Oh, no. Oh, no. I didn't expect this at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
because my other jobs, I mean, like I said, it's I'm
A
paid
part
yeah.
a part of it was like, "See ya, deuces," right?
I
And then there's this other
mean
part that's like, "Oh my god, I feel guilty and sad."
yes, it is
Mm.
having space for both, like, I
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I'm ruining this person's life," and then it's like, "But I don't have that power, but I'm feeling the power of this." I don't
Yeah.
know, like, it just and then also being like, "I'm so excited for this new job because I truly am, but I'm
Yeah.
also really, really sad."
Yeah.
So, lots of intensity.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I learned. I'm just continuing to learn, and no one specific thing. I think just to sum it up, termination can in the outpatient world can be incredibly intense.
I remember when I, like, was first starting in private practice because I went straight into private practice, right? And I had a client I had some clients that I knew I was gonna be terminating with for in their case, my first ones that were gonna be, like, graduating, if you will. Like, they're
Mhm.
done, they're doing great, we're gonna exit out because that's a part of the Gottman method, right? But
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, I need, like, a plan," you know? Everybody knows me, right? I need a plan. I need, like, a fucking I need, like, a fucking outline here. Like, I need to figure out, like, what am I gonna do? Like, okay, how
Yeah.
far out should I start talking about this with them? What are the things that I need to say? What are the things that I wanna, like, reflect and cover? Blah, blah, blah. And I was trying to figure that, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back to one of my textbooks," because I'm pretty sure we talked about this in class, but I don't remember what we said. I pull out the textbook. I kid you not, y'all, 3 fucking pages in the whole fucking textbook about
Oh my god.
termination, and I was like, "This is useless." Like,
Yeah.
this did not help me any more than, like, all the nonsense that was running around in my head, and so
Yeah.
I felt like I had to, like, literally just, like, come up with it on the fly, right? Like, I
Yeah.
had to figure out, like, my own sort of procedure, if you will, for termination with clients in private practice was like I had to think through and make it up basically
Yep.
because I didn't feel like I had, like, the guidance from a textbook or whatever, or, like, a worksheet that I came out of school with that I could be like, "Okay, here's my checklist of things that I need to make sure to do. How far out should I start talking about it? What do I need to say?" Like, any of that. I feel like I didn't have any of that, and I just had to, like, make it up, and maybe that's different in, like, more institutionalized sort of settings where it's, like, just everything's a worksheet, I guess. Whereas in private
Kinda.
practice, like,
Yeah.
you're doing it. You're figuring it out, you know? And
Yep.
I remember being like, "Oh, shit. Like, I better fucking get a plan together on this."
I know, man, and I just wanna listen, no shade on everybody, like I said, everybody's got abandonment issues, and I understand, but, a lot of this is brought up stuff from my clients of like, "Hey, you know what? At least you told me." And I'm like, "What?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah, I had a counselor, a few years ago, and I it was like she just told me, and then she said we weren't gonna be seeing each other anymore." And I was like, "Wait." What? I mean, it's insane that I've had several clients be like, "Oh, okay, is this our last session?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, of course not. Of course not. I wouldn't just tell you this."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I let's not shy away from termination even though there is no rule book on it. Like, let's not shy away from it. Let's try to give people as much time as possible because it is intense. It is
Yeah.
intense for both of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, still learning about that one.
I know. Ongoing. Well,
Yeah.
I guess, that's it
Let's go
for
learn
now,
about
y'all.
assessments.
Yeah, let's talk to Caitlin.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Therapy Tea, y'all. We're super excited. We've got a Texas State alum, Caitlin DeWeese, with us here today.
Hello. I know. We're all from Texas State. This has happened a few times,
More than a
unsurprisingly.
few times. More
Yeah.
than a few times.
Well, we are the cooler ones.
Totally.
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
For
say
real.
anything else.
Strong network. That's what it
Yes.
is.
A
Yes.
strong network for
Strong,
real, though.
competent network.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Caitlin, let's get started though. What do you do right now? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I am currently in private practice for what I call full-time, but I'm only doing, maybe max of 20 hours a week, including admin time, which has been very important to me, boundary-wise.
Lovely.
Loving it. It's
Lovely.
the dream.
Lovely.
After being a teacher for 7 years, like working a 3.5-day work week I feel like I earned that. But my practice is actually turning 4 on May 1st. So
Sweet.
maybe by the time you hear this, my practice will already be 4. So that's
Yes.
exciting. And right now, I've really been niching down into working with neurodivergence in particular. Recently, have niched down with that for therapy, but I've been doing assessments for adults who are looking to find out more about ADHD and autism for about a year and a
Mm.
half.
Oh, super cool.
We got to talk
So,
about that.
Mm-hmm.
so private practice looking like individual counseling,
Yeah.
but also assessments
Yes.
for ADHD and autism in
Mm-hmm.
particular. Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Okay, awesome. So, okay, before we dig into those kinds of things, though, because I'm sure we'll get there, can you take us back a little in time and walk us through? Like, you mentioned teaching. So, tell
Mm-hmm.
us, how did you get into becoming a counselor?
I feel
Did you
like
always want to
having a
know?
mental breakdown is kind of the answer, but that's all my life changes.
Okay, tell us more.
Yes.
We would love to hear about it.
Always knew I wanted to be a teacher. Like that was, from the age of 5, I liked being bossy. I liked teaching and like giving other people knowledge. I used to force my sister to like play school with me.
Oh my
Um,
God, did you
you
make her
know.
fill out like forms and
Oh yeah.
stuff?
Like I had
Me
whole little
too.
sets and posters and I would like make her snacks and she would I don't know what I was teaching her. I liked weather. That's still one of my special interests. So I would like teach her about weather.
Very
And
cool.
that was just like what was in my brain for most of my life.
Hmm.
And that
Y'all
was
played some,
yeah.
and no shade, but like you guys played some very lame games
Oh,
No,
growing up.
yeah.
I love
Well,
my no. It was awesome.
now it all makes sense after my own ADHD diagnosis and identifying a lot of autistic traits in myself and some in my sister. Hope she's okay that I say that.
The pieces just
It
like
does all make a lot of sense.
clicked.
There was lots
Sure.
of very structured play in our life. Yep, always wanted to be a teacher. And then I got, really deep into like the Spanish language in middle school and high school. And that was kind
What
of what I paired with my teaching goals.
what are you talking
Okay.
about? You got really into
Like
the
I was just like
Spanish
good
language.
at Spanish
Oh,
and I like
sick.
was
But
in
we
like
had
Spanish club and
did
went
you not have
to
like a requirement to take Spanish, Jess?
we did, but I
I mean, I
started in
did.
7th
Yeah.
grade. So I was like hopped on the bus early and then took it
What?
all the way through Spanish 5 AP.
Yeah.
So I was just like
Wow.
very in it and did decently.
Yeah.
It didn't always come easily to me, but like the academic side of it was great. So it made sense. I was like, oh, okay, I'll be a Spanish teacher. I ended up at Baylor, which is not something I'm super proud of.
Really?
At the time, I did love Jesus a lot, which is no
Ah.
longer the case, but ended up at
Mhm.
Baylor. They do have a really strong education
I
program.
wonder if Baylor could claim that reason.
Jesus?
No, like
Me
why she's
leaving.
maybe not into D
I
anymore.
mean, yeah, a little
Oh.
bit. Yes. 100%. There are many things about my experience there I did not love. Waco is not my favorite, did not fit in super well, just like culture-wise there.
It's an odd place. I don't give a
It
fuck what
is.
anybody says about Magnolia Bakery or whatever,
Well,
but,
that
like,
didn't
that
That
place is
shit's
exist.
weird.
new though
No,
too,
I was gonna
Jazmin. Like
say,
that's
the
brand new.
silos where all
Yeah.
that is, like, that's where homeless people used to hang out and, like,
Yeah.
poop.
Yeah.
So it's really weird
Yeah.
And
to
then
know that people are enjoying that.
Like
That was not the
standing in
case.
line to go in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always shocked when I'm like, yeah, like the place that David Koresh was at, like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
people
I had a professor who was in a band with him. He played
Oh.
bass for David Koresh. Yeah. That professor was badass too. He was like a
Super cool.
liberal Baptist. He was awesome.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
I mean,
Sick.
you'd have to be.
So, yeah, and I stuck it out. I had thought about transferring, but their program made it really hard to transfer. So,
Mhm.
stuck it out. Spent a lot of time coming to Austin. Throughout my time there, I was really into music. So, got to Austin as quick as I could. I had a really hard time finding a teaching job because we were on a hiring freeze for the entire state. Thanks, Rick Perry.
Thank you,
But
Texas.
yeah, I found a job kind of last minute.
Fuck, I forgot about Rick Perry.
Yeah,
What
I
an
know.
How could
asshole.
you?
Was that
How
sayonara
could you?
mofo?
I try to
Yeah.
move on, Jasmine. That's fucking how, you know?
I don't
God
know how
damn it.
we could move on. Because I mean, it's not like it's
It's called
I
compartmentalization.
mean, he was
You know what I'm
around for a
saying?
while. Yeah.
I know.
and then we have this one. Great.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're
which
really
is
kicking
carb-
ass over
carbon
here.
copy. Yeah. Yeah.
So you found a job eventually?
Yeah, like
teaching?
I found it very
Okay.
last minute, like 3 weeks before the semester started. It was at a charter school, which looking back, I regret paid very, very poorly. I was responsible as a 22-year-old for teaching 7th to 12th grade Spanish. So
big
I had,
span.
a classroom where 9th and 12th graders were all in the same room, 8th through 11th graders all in the same room sometimes, and it was just not good. I was very miserable, not well supported. Looking back, I'm very proud of, I developed a whole curriculum from scratch for like 4 different levels of Spanish. So I was not well there. Eventually decided it was time to leave, and I ended up at a school in Leander ISD where things were much
Oh,
better. I was only
okay.
teaching Spanish 1, which is just like nerdy 8th graders who are excited to take a high school class, so much easier, fit in much better there, just like culturally, made a lot of really good friends. And just kind of started to realize as my, I was going to say caseload, as my class sizes got bigger and bigger, I realized, there'd be days where I didn't even notice a certain kid was in my class until I saw them at the end of the day after school. And that started bumming me out because that was not why I got into teaching. Obviously, all the systemic stuff is a whole other story.
Yeah.
The punishment system, I had to work in the ISS classroom as an elective
Ugh.
teacher. And it was just like a bunch of brown and black kids in there. It
Ugh.
was just not good. A lot of stuff really started to fall together. I knew I wanted to leave, thinking about leaving often induced panic attacks. I have a history of panic attacks and generalized anxiety. And this is always like fun. I'm like, and then my grandma died.
For real. Then you
And I was
experience
like,
this
fuck
huge
it.
death.
Like, we're here
Yeah.
for a good time, not a long time. Like, let's just do this. My grandma passed in like September, and by December, I was taking the GRE and put in my notice in March after I got into Texas State. So I thought about sticking with teaching for a little bit while I was going to school, but I even told my principal when I left, like, I'm not a half-asser. I want a whole ass one thing. So, I talked to my husband, and we figured financially we were going to make it work.
Hold on. Was
Mhm.
it just like a spiritual awakening that said professional counseling is the path I'm going to go down?
Oh, yeah,
Or like,
that would be,
well-
I skimmed over that piece.
yeah, like how did it
Yeah.
actually come into your brain?
Yeah, the whole like one-on-one connection with students, missing them in my
Yeah.
classroom, having 200 kids filter in and out of my
Yeah.
classroom every day.
I see.
And just like not getting to sit down with them and not getting to know them. They were just like a face and a grade. And I had a couple students that every year that I would connect with really closely, and we would spend more time together, and they'd come to me for stuff if they were having a hard time, like I knew their moms.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like a very, I don't know, I was significantly older than them, not quite old enough to be their mom, but kind of like a mentorship relationship. And those were so meaningful. Like I would leave on those days just feeling very connected and like very grateful. And then obviously like my own mental health journey has also really influenced that.
Okay.
Like at the time, I loved therapy. Even looking back, I was getting shit
Yeah.
therapy. But
But
I
you
started
knew what therapy was.
I knew,
is
and
what it
I
sounds like.
knew it
'Cause,
was
like,
helping me.
yeah,
Like there
'cause
was
we've talked
something
to
that was
people who
helping me,
didn't
and I
know.
liked the space. I understood it. I started going when I was like
Okay.
19. I had a mental breakdown in college, had to miss like 3 weeks of school, and really got into mental health and psychology then. So it was something that always interested me and was just like important to me in my life. And
Yeah.
when I realized I needed more of that one-on-one time with students, I thought at the time I was going to work with teenagers because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
It just made sense. Like everything kind of added up. And now, of course, looking back at the time, I didn't realize how perfect this job was for me and how meaningful it would actually be and how much more I would continue to grow. So I'm kind of glad it worked out the way that it did.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I guess kind of spiritual. It just like has always felt important to me.
It was
I guess.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus told me.
Jesus.
That's
Oh
so
my gosh. Okay. What was your experience like with did your school
Mhm.
in Leander or maybe wherever did they have counselors?
Yes, but they were academic and they also held the role of supposedly mental health. Like I had a student who came to me because she was cutting. So I, escorted her down to her guidance counselor's office. I have no idea what came of that or what she was offered.
Mm.
At the time, I didn't think to ask, but we were also not really told what like mental health support really looked like. And I think also as an elective teacher, I was probably not in on a lot of those conversations that were happening at like grade level meetings and things. I was kind of
Oh,
an
okay.
island. I didn't have a team really that I worked on or anything. I was the only Spanish teacher for most of my time there. So I usually was not in meetings where they talked about student mental health. So I was
What?
really left out of it, but I have no idea. Like I know that most of our counselors, they spend a lot of their time doing admin work.
Mm.
And I don't know what the case is now, if they have any LPCs or LCSWs on campus. I know a lot of schools are shifting to that to actually provide sufficient mental health. I know we had some district-wide they can connect you to a district therapist or something like that. Kind
Yeah.
of like an EAP situation, but for families and students, I think. I could be
Interesting.
totally wrong, but it's been a minute.
I've heard of things like that. There was like a nonprofit for a while that I knew a lot of people
Yeah.
in my cohort were like go in, do counseling,
Yeah, what
come
was that
out,
called?
go
I
in.
can't remember.
Yeah,
So I
but
don't know if Leander has a partnership like that or had one.
Mhm.
I have very much distanced myself. Most of my friends have also, exited the teaching profession and
yeah.
don't have a ton to do with it. Actually, one of my best friends, she is still involved in Austin ISD, but in a different capacity. So I am very out of touch with the educational world besides all the terrible stuff happening to it.
Sometimes we talk to counselors on this podcast about like just the lack of awareness
Mhm.
that maybe we had going into the profession
Oh my god,
around the
yeah.
different licenses and sort of the different tracks.
Mhm.
And, being a person who came specifically from teaching,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, did you have any sense of like, I know I don't want to be a school counselor versus like an LPC, and
Yep.
how did you get the information for yourself to make that decision? Was it something that you figured out
Yeah.
during orientation or like before you even applied?
I
Where
think
where
I
do you
knew
think you
before I applied. I
Okay.
remember because I was a teacher, they
Mm,
really wanted me to do the school counselor track.
mhm.
I remember Dr. Green really trying to be like, "You sure you don't want to?" And I was like, "I love you, but no."
Yeah.
I knew like when I was leaving that something very bad would have to happen in my life for me to have to go back to teaching. So I
I
already
see.
knew like I don't want to be in the school anymore. I
Mm,
was physically so unwell, lots of just like physical health problems, mental
yeah. Oh my
health,
God.
burnt out, just like not in good shape.
Yeah. So you
And
knew you
also,
didn't want to be in that
yeah,
environment anymore is
yes,
kind of what
I
you're
was
saying.
like, I want
Okay.
out of the system. Like, I don't believe in this system. I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Mhm.
So that was clear to me. And then I had done enough of my own therapy and knew enough like therapists in my personal life that
Mhm.
I knew private practice was my goal. Like I was like,
Okay.
I've put in my time. I've done my public education. Like
Yeah.
I need something vastly different and I want more freedom. And, I did get some flack for that initially of, my goal being private practice from a few folks.
What
And
do
I
you
know
mean
Texas State
flack
kind
from
of
that?
like you have to kind of earn private practice. Like you need to put in your
Yes.
time. Like you need to go work at an agency. You need to go do
Yes.
trauma work.
Mm,
You need to be in a hospital before you go to private practice,
mhm.
which I could maybe see as a younger therapist, but I was 30 at the time. Like I was like, look,
Mhm.
I know more of what I want. I just recently gotten married. Like I just wanted everything to kind of be new and fresh. And I know I needed something different schedule wise, which now makes a lot of sense with my own neurodivergence being diagnosed. I also have
Yeah.
like joint hypermobility and instability. A lot of that impacts chronic fatigue and pain. And so it's like, I really did make the right choice. I just didn't know
Yeah.
it at the time that that was really, really what I needed.
Yeah. We
Totally.
talk about that the message of like private practice is the gold standard, but
Yeah.
also like I've mentioned this as well because we all went to Texas State. I
Hmm.
remember hearing that kind of like messaging through this classes around like, hey, it's really important that you kind of do your time at community
Hmm.
mental health.
Yep.
And I, like you, knew going in that I wanted to do
Yeah.
private practice. I was an older
Hmm.
person once I started
Yep.
school as well. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this part time while I'm working full time,
Yeah.
school meaning.
Hmm.
So, like, I've already decided that I'm going into this so that I can be my own boss, right?
Yep.
And so when I graduated, I went
Yep.
straight into private practice as well, just kind of
Yep.
like, just didn't even let that shit sink in
Yep.
because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, I might as well start getting my experience in private practice as soon as I possibly can because
Yep.
I know that this is what I want to do.
Yep. I
So
remember processing that in my own therapy at the time too,
mhm.
just saying how much kind of guilt and shame I felt. I've always been a rule follower,
Mm.
Actually, I don't know. I'm like a rule follower when it makes sense. I'm also a little rebellious, but I wanted to do what was right, and that's always been very important to me, and I just didn't feel aligned. I got over that pretty quickly though.
Yeah.
This is such an interesting, like, topic for me
Mhm.
because I was one of those. I
Yeah.
was probably who you talked about in therapy. I'll be totally vulnerable right
That's
now.
okay.
I bought into it. I
Yeah.
did.
A lot of people
Well,
do. I don't blame
yeah,
them. I
yeah.
get
I was also younger. So I was,
Mhm.
like, terrified of
Mhm.
being out of school. So
Yep.
I jumped immediately. Not only did I prolong my dual
Mm.
major at
Mhm.
A&M by adding on another major, but because I was scared of graduating. But I also just, like, I was like, fall semester, boom, done. Like, I
Wow.
was yeah, it was and, ugh, looking back on it now, I have such mixed feelings. Like, if I were to do it over again, I probably wouldn't have done that. But I also know that I am like a chronic preparer. I also have a little GAD, and I was, like, working in psychiatric facilities. I was working
Mhm.
at, like,
Yeah.
at least 2 different, like, a detox facility. I worked in a neuro rehab. I worked in an ABA clinic. I worked with autism. I worked in communities. Like, I worked in a ton of different places while I was going to school, both in undergrad, as soon
Mhm.
as I figured out I was gonna go to grad school, and, in grad school, I was just, like, doing all of that stuff. So, I was one of those people who was like, "Well,
Yep.
Karen." I never would have approached Karen. Karen scared the fuck out of me. So, but other people, I was like, "Well, you really need to, like, you have to do what your
Mhm.
dues," right?
Well, there is, like, that idea that, like, oh, you need to work with these higher acuity populations in order to, like,
Right, and you
gain your
don't.
worth or, like, lots of trauma and lots of, like,
You definitely
psychosis
don't.
and stuff like that. I don't have the nervous system for that personally, and that was part of the problem with teaching too, the
Valid.
urgency, the fast pace,
Mm.
like, too much. And I know, I'm
Valid.
like, "Bless you if you can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You'd
Couldn't be
already
me."
had those insights about
Yes,
yourself
yes.
and to fully
Well, and that's why I'm
digested
saying,
them, and
like,
it's like
as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old coming out of school, I
sure.
mean, I kinda did the same thing,
Yeah.
just in a different
Sure.
capacity of taking this shitty charter school job that paid me $40K a year.
Yeah.
Like,
In
you don't
Austin.
know what you don't know. Yeah, it was technically Georgetown, but yeah.
Ah, worse.
Yes.
Worse.
Yeah. I had to drive from well, where did I live? Congress and Stastny up to
To
Georgetown. Yeah.
Georgetown.
Mhm.
Wow.
I
Worse.
really sacrificed a lot for them, but it's kind of the same thing of, like, there's a scarcity mindset, there's this put in your time mindset, you need to grind and work as hard as you can, earn your stripes, and then you can have fun and be free.
Yeah. So by the time you graduated, are you of the sort of generation where you were an LPC associate when you graduated versus an LPC intern?
Yes, yeah, they
Okay.
had recently changed to associate, and then when I
Okay.
graduated, I had to wait about 8 or 9 months to start my practice until BHEC changed the rule
Oh,
that
yeah,
allowed.
yeah. That
So
allowed that. Yeah.
I worked in my supervisor's practice for about
Yeah.
8 months, and even then, like, I was ready to go because it was a situation that was great. It was like an 85-15 split, like, she only took
That's great.
15%,
That is great.
but I was doing pretty much all of my marketing because she was a mostly
Mm.
insurance-based practice. So I was, like, already kind of preparing for it even while I was working under her. So it ended up great. Like, the timing was great. I had already built up a bit of a
Mhm.
caseload. I had people who came with me after internship. I actually still have some of those clients, and I'm
Mhm.
very proud of that. They come and go,
Awesome.
and they're, people I worked with at Southwestern University. So, yeah, it was just quick into it. I
Nice.
was ready. And I'm someone who, like, is excited to graduate. I'm like, "Get me to the next thing. Like, I'm done with
Yeah.
this bullshit. Like, I'm ready to go." I've
I
always
Yeah.
been that
can't.
way.
Yeah.
And I love that about people. It ain't
Well,
me.
now I recognize that it might be a sign of complex or developmental trauma, but, I've learned
Don't
a lot.
don't reframe that. No, no, no. This only is positive. Come on now.
Yes, yes, sure.
Did you know what you wanted to, like, focus you said you thought you wanted to work with
Yeah.
teenagers.
Oh,
Started
yeah.
off
I kinda
teenagers,
feel
I
you
was
on
like,
that.
teenage girls, like, because that was all I knew, like, I loved
Yeah.
the teenage girls that I worked with
But
while I
did you
was
shift?
oh, yeah, very
Okay,
quickly.
okay.
They're
That
rough.
did not last. Like,
Teenage girls are the worst.
They will
I
eat you
know.
up.
Well,
I know.
now I got out of teaching before TikTok was a thing, and I feel like that was, like, the dividing line of a generation, so, like,
I think so too.
so fully out of touch. I don't know when it really shifted. Throughout grad school, a lot of my, like, work that I did and papers that I wrote and little group programs that I set up that we had to do were all geared towards teenage girls. But I guess when I started doing intermediate methods and practicum and everything, I was working with adults and I just really enjoyed it. And I realized it was nice to talk to adults. But when I
So
started my
much better.
practice, I know, it was amazing. When I started my practice, though, I think I was open to 16 and up. And I just had like a small handful of teenage clients. And then I realized the scheduling needs were
Yeah.
really the
Yes.
biggest thing.
Yeah,
I'm great
that's
with
the
the parent.
hardest.
Like, I was finding myself working till 6 or 7 PM on some
know.
nights, which was a little bit because, like, the scarcity mindset of, like, "Oh, I need to
Yes.
take whatever clients I can get."
Yeah,
Um,
initially, it's hard not to feel that way.
yes, and that it did take me a while. I definitely worked at a pretty steady pace. It took me about 2.5 years to get fully licensed, which was
That's not
fine.
bad.
It
Yeah,
definitely could
that's
be
not bad
worse,
at all.
but I
Yeah.
was very anxious to be done with that as well.
Yeah.
I get it, but I hate it. Like, I hate that. Like, that whole experience just
Which
feels
part? The 3,000
Well,
hours?
yeah, like,
Huh.
the 3,000 hours that can't be accumulated, especially in a program
Yeah.
like Texas State, like, that can't be accumulated while we're in school? You're telling me I have to just, like, start over? And I I go back and forth on that requirement because necessary, probably. Like, the experience piece, I definitely understand. I just think, like, it perpetuates that some unhealthy habits.
Sort of
I was gonna
abuse
say,
and
yeah, because I mean, I still hear about people in private practice like, "I see 30 to 35 clients a week." I'm like, "Well, that sucks for you." But that is the kind of mentality I think that is pushed with that is
100%.
if you wanna be done soon or you can't afford to not be done soon, then you have to
Kill
basically burn
yourself.
yourself out.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Burn yourself
yep,
alive. Yeah.
mhm, and I
Yeah.
was not interested in that. So,
Yeah,
Ah,
same.
boundaries. We love it.
mhm, I mean,
Two
I
and a
I
half
hope
bought
I'm
years.
better
Well,
at those, but
yeah.
they were at least a good start then.
yeah,
Yeah.
I bought into that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
18 months,
Well,
done.
Oh my
that's why you
god.
went to an agency type place.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I get, and that,
Yeah.
supervision's provided and paid for, and
Nope.
that's a whole other conversation of the lack of accessibility of this career, but yeah.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you sort of niche into neurodivergence, and how'd you get there?
Yes. This is
It
also a special interest of
Yes.
mine.
Yes, it is 100% my special interest. I talk about it all the time, all my friends, everybody, and I'm sure they just absolutely love it.
Yes.
But I was trying to think, chicken or the egg. I think I started getting interested in it because I had some clients who were showing signs of ADHD. My knowledge was limited, and I had a couple clients ask, like, is that something you can diagnose? And I was like, well, technically, yes, but like, I don't have the training for it. So I really started to just like read up on it and take a couple really basic trainings. And then I started to be like, uh-oh, that sounds like me. I suddenly learned about like internal hyperactivity and stuff like that. So I kind of self-diagnosed and was like, okay, like this makes sense for me. It's making sense for clients. Oh, gosh, the timeline's murky. No, I got my diagnosis before I started offering assessment. So I feel like, yeah, my own diagnosis probably really kicked things off. I had a horrible technical diagnosis experience. I stupidly went to my PCP thinking maybe she would refer. Like, I really didn't know anything about the process. So it's crazy,
No
like,
one
how
Most
much
people
does.
I've
don't.
learned
Yeah,
in
most
like
people don't.
3 years. She like gave me what's called the ASRS, which is an 18-question survey, which I had already filled out and brought with me. So she like handed it to me. I was like, "Bitch, I got you."
Trade.
And she like quickly scored it and was like, "Yeah, you probably have ADHD." And I was like,
Dude.
"Okay."
Yes.
And then she was like,
Yes.
"Here's some Adderall."
Okay.
Right. Oh,
And that didn't
man.
go well for me.
I bet, 'cause you were
Like,
an
like,
adult.
yeah, well, also, like, sent me to the mental hospital didn't go well for
I
me.
would
Oh,
imagine.
no.
Yeah,
What do
Yeah.
you
I would
mean?
imagine.
I kind of freaked out. I was already probably under-medicated at the time just for the amount of stress I was dealing with, but it put me really into a state of like 24/7 anxiety for like 5 weeks or 5
Oh
days.
my god.
And I was like
Oh my
not eating,
god.
I couldn't sleep, and I was like sitting there with my husband. I was like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I cannot get out of this. Looking
Wow.
back, if I had just maybe had a psychiatrist or a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, this probably could have been solved a lot more easily.
Totally.
But I ended up checking myself in. I was there for like 6 or 7 days just to get like medically stabilized, which was probably one of the harder decisions I've ever made.
I
I'm
can't
actually really
imagine.
grateful
Yeah.
for the experience though, because it is something that I
Awesome.
can share with clients who are considering that. But after that, I was like very hesitant to try any stimulants again. I started doing NARM therapy, which has been game changer for me.
Yeah,
We spell
no.
out acronyms here
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on therapy
Oh,
tea.
NARM.
NARM. I love
Shit.
this one.
Neuroaffective some relational mapping model.
Methods.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, what
It's
is it?
something very
Fine,
like
guys.
interpersonal neurobiology based.
Okay.
So just like very different kind of treatment than talk therapy, very like bottom up, very
Oh, you guys
relational
got it.
attunement. I had not really heard of it. The only way I found my therapist was like on the Facebook posts. Someone had asked about treating panic attacks, and that's what I'd always identified as having. And my therapist posted a very beautiful response to this person, and I was like, I need to talk to her. So I reached out and we had a consultation. It seemed like a really good fit. And now I've kind of realized I don't know how much of it was really panic, except,
Yeah.
maybe in the terms of more complex trauma and also neurodivergence, and being, sensory overwhelm. So it's been an interesting journey, but
It
yeah, that's how I got into ADHD and autism. And then once I kind of started to heal myself and learn more, special interest is really the best word. I started with just ADHD assessments, quickly realized I needed to be offering both because the overlap is so great.
Mm.
My opinion is that if you have ADHD traits, you also have traits of autism. They're probably just not clinically diagnosable
I
right now.
mean, when you say you started, like, offering assessments, like, what does that
Yeah,
actually,
that's
like,
so
look
vague.
like? Yeah, what does that mean?
People ask this a lot, and I do have a lot of people reaching out to me, asking like what I did.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because I always feel like a little gatekeepy about it, where I'm like, I did all this work, you got to figure it out too. But then I remember that's horrible.
Yeah.
So what I usually tell people is, I think you really have to have a why. Like, why are you wanting to do these? And it needs to be a good why, not just like, I want to do something different or I want to make more money. It needs to be meaningful to you. It needs to be like very based in like shifting the systemic framework, I think, moving to like a more neurodivergence affirming model. And if
Mhm.
it's not based in those things, I don't know that you're going to be super successful or enjoy it. So you got to have a good why. And then I really like cobbled together my training. It was obviously a lot of reading,
Mhm.
but really spending time seeking out trainings that aligned with what I already believed. So lots of just like different providers who are either neurodivergent themselves or are kind of in the more progressive mindset around all of this. It's actually really, really hard to find neurodivergent affirming trainings. I'm
Hmm.
glad for the people that I found. One of my favorites is Amanda Moses out of Australia. She has amazing content. I kind of want to buy everything on her website. She's been wonderful. But yeah, like it is kind of cobbling together. There are some programs where you can pay, like $3,000 and do a, 10-month course where you learn how to do this and you have a lot of support along the way. I don't think I realized that was out there when I first started doing this. I don't know that that's the route that I would have gone. I do consider myself like a very good researcher and learner, and I go deep. Another autistic trait. But
Who
yeah,
could
it's
have
just been
guessed?
like cobbling and still cobbling. Like anytime I find a new training now, I am still taking it and
Yeah.
purchasing it. So it was really just me kind of trying to figure out what made me feel competent, taking
Mhm.
courses where they really like send home the message of like, yes, as an LPC, you can do this because that's something I face all the time.
Yes.
Really,
Let's talk about
yeah.
that. Circle, underline, highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I think we could
Yeah.
I myself, like this is I kind of
Mhm.
specialize in like parenting neurodivergence. So
Yeah.
how do we deal with these behavioral issues and still maintain a connection with our children? So I have a lot of parents who have neurodivergent children and are like, what do I do? So I mean, I kind of I really think we should learn this more. don't go to a PCP, please.
Mhm.
Please.
Unless you have no other financial means to do so. I'm like, if you
Right.
need meds,
Like
go get your
last
meds.
case
But yeah, that's the
option.
last thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't even tell you how many times I've had to explain this process of like, okay, listen, so here's all the options. This is what the PCP is going to do.
Well, a
And
lot of
this is,
them won't do it. I
yeah.
was lucky I had a really good relationship with my PCP, and I guess in this case, it worked out in my favor, but, like, a lot of people will tell me their PCPs will not diagnose, and they won't treat either.
Yeah.
Uh,
Really? I get
yeah,
kind
and
of the
same for
opposite.
psychiatrists, and same for nurse practitioners. Most of them are that's where I'm getting a lot of my referrals are from the medical providers themselves because they don't have
Wow.
the training to assess for it.
Right. Right. I think I've always thought that like LPCs are perfectly capable of
Mhm.
assessing.
It's
Like
the psychologists who like to gatekeep us.
totally.
And their
Totally.
training kinda sucks from what I've learned.
I
They love to hate.
yes.
They're the biggest haters. They're the ones who I find, question me the most.
Yes.
Um, they're
I
Yes.
very
think
trained
they
well,
wanna
they're very
keep
trained in
that
the
difference
yeah.
between the professional
Yes,
labels,
that
you
sets them
know?
apart, that is something
Exactly.
that,
Oh,
they should be
we
able to offer.
right.
But I've also found
That's
their
not the
training
case.
is very medical model based, which I'm also not about, and a lot of it focuses on the idea of a gold standard assessment, which is often called the ADOS.
ADOS.
ADOS too,
Oh,
I
no.
hate the ADOS!
I used to do the
Oh
ADOS when I
gosh,
worked in ABA. Like,
hate it.
it was so I have so much respect for the ABA community, like, and the BCBAs that I've worked with. I understand the controversy. I understand the controversy 100%. However, it's not I don't think at this point it's, like, reflective of the current,
Oh, not
the
at all.
majority of the current people. It's really unfortunate,
I've had
but
multiple people who have been formally diagnosed with ADOS or not assessed with ADOS, told they don't have autism, and within the first 10 minutes of meeting them, I'm like, "What?"
yes, yes, 100%. Yeah, the
It's sad.
ADOS is crazy. It's like what is it like? It's been years, but I used to do the ADOS for kids, and it's like from 5 to 30 or something
It's
something
dumb. Well, and again,
crazy.
it was for a while, that was the only tool we had, so that's where the
Yeah.
research was, so that's how it became the idea of a gold standard, but, like, there are so many papers and articles out now really refuting that. So that was, like, a relief to me too of, like, "Oh, I don't have to offer it in this method because that was also all I knew. I recently got trained in the MIGDAS written by Marilyn Montero, she did a training on it, and even that, like, didn't feel perfect to me, but it's at least a little more
Well,
interview-based, a little more neurodivergent affirming.
how are we gonna get to I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, there's no such thing as perfect, but,
Yeah,
like,
there
the
isn't.
progress looks like building
Mhm.
upon what we realize now
Yep,
doesn't work so well, but you kind of, like, have to do that step to get to
yep,
the next step, right?
yep.
So,
Absolutely.
w
So I've
how else
kind
do we
of,
do it?
fashioned my autism assessments based on the MIGDAS, but I do not
Mhm.
do it as, like, written specifically.
Yeah. So you
So
kind of
but yeah,
figured
cobbling
it out for
together all of
yourself.
this, all the different trainings, learning what doesn't work for me, learning what works for me.
Mhm.
So,
Confidence, I think, has been the biggest thing.
I would imagine yeah, because we're told all the time that we're not qualified to
Yeah.
do assessments, and then I
Mhm.
watch
Mhm.
an assessment done, and I'm like, "I could do that shit." Like,
Yeah.
I could do that way better than you.
Well, and I do come across a lot of bigger psychological practices who offer them at a really low rate, and it's self-reports, which is helpful. Like, I use self-reports in part of my battery, but,
Sure.
like,
Right.
It's one
yeah,
piece.
technically that's allowed.
Big breath. Big breath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, like, so now that you're offering these assessments, like, what percentage of your private practice is assessments
Yeah.
versus, like, actual counseling work? Like,
Yeah.
how do you function?
So, I need to look at this, like, numbers-wise because I am curious, like, income-wise, how this is split up, but I know during the week, like, my weeks tend to average it's pretty consistent, like, 10 therapy clients a week and then maybe 5 to 6 assessment sessions a week, and my assessment
Mhm.
packages are all 3 to 4 sessions.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
So, we're doing some stage of the assessment. I'm probably doing that 5 to 6 times a week, sometimes more, it just depends.
Mhm.
But, I mean, as a result, I am pretty full most of the time, which has been a tricky balance, like, I've had to do a lot of boundary work around what time of day I
Yeah.
offer my assessments, how many slots I open, do I keep spots saved just for my therapy clients. Like that is still kind of a work in progress. Like right
Mhm.
now, I was like, oops, I am booked until the beginning of June and hope none of my therapy sessions need to reschedule or somebody doesn't need to drop in. So I'm still figuring out that balance, but I think I have
Man,
found a pretty sweet spot.
I
I
feel like
kind of,
that's like life as a private practice person.
Ugh.
yeah,
Like you're just
yes,
like, because
100%.
it ebbs and flows too, at least in my experience. And so then
Yes.
it's like you think you dialed it right, give it 6 months, and now it's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yep. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a pretty good spot right now. Just need to figure out kind of the blocking still.
I want to know, okay, so we're up against it with the psychologists who are going to drown in a rainstorm
Hmm.
and all the people telling us that we're not real professionals or whatever, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like, say somebody wants an assessment.
Hmm.
They come to you because you offer assessments.
Hmm.
Well, first of all, you say it's like 3 or 4 sessions. Are they like an hour
It's a
apiece?
package. It depends on the package. The intakes are an hour. Usually the ADHD or the autism interview is an hour and a half. If you choose the more formal MIG-DOS version, that's 2 hours. And then I offer like a 30 to 45-minute wrap-up session to go over the results.
Dude.
Yeah.
You mean you don't have to spend 5 fucking hours at a clinic?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
amazing.
How
Yeah.
accessible. How
Mhm.
accessible.
And I do it virtually too if you want.
Wow. Wow, wow,
Groundbreaking.
wow. It's
Mhm.
groundbreaking. I know. It's almost like we made all this up. So, okay. So they have an assessment by
Mhm.
you. And then, so what do they do? Like, is it official? Have you
Like,
had
what
any
do they do with
pushback?
the assessment
Yeah.
afterwards? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Right.
so it
Right.
depends. I offer only formal ADHD assessments, which means I record a diagnosis for them in the report. For autism, I offer both formal and informal. My opinion is that most adults only need the informal process. No diagnosis is recorded for that. I don't offer like a super structured report that has a lot of clinical language or big score interpretations. I tend to really talk through that one more with them. I still give them scores from their self reports, and then I break down the autism criteria into very real life examples and kind of show them where they fit or don't fit. The
Nice.
formal one does have a recorded diagnosis. The only reason I've had folks use that one is if maybe they want to have something in their pocket if they need accommodations for school or work.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and that's really I think the only reason an adult would need it. I am very clear though that my reports are not acceptable for disability. Texas
Okay.
has really, really stringent laws around who can provide disability assessments, and therapists or LPCs are not on the list. I don't think LCSWs are either. It's a pretty specific list. So it kind of depends on what people need. With ADHD, they can take it to any medical provider and they should accept it. I wish I knew exactly how many ADHD assessments I've done at this point. I've only had one client come back and say my doctor wouldn't accept this because you're not a psychologist. And I was like, well, did you go to somebody on my list? And she said, no. So I've networked with a lot of folks and have a really good list. I send people to my own nurse practitioner because I love her so much.
Ugh.
So I have a whole list of people that should accept my report, and I've never had anybody except that one person come back and say, this isn't being accepted. On the autism side, I just started offering the more formal ones, so I don't think that would be a problem. I also don't know why like an HR department would be like, oh no, she's an LPC.
Right. Because
So
they
I,
don't even
I
know.
don't anticipate that being an issue.
They don't even know. Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
I have in the past though provided like letters of support of like, oh, we did this informal assessment process, and I'll write a support letter saying what we assessed for and what my professional opinion was, and accommodations I think would be helpful.
Just like
You know,
cite the code that says
Yeah.
that we're
I've never had to
qualified
do
to do
that.
this.
I think the psychologists that are running into that, I think, or sorry, the psychiatrists that are kind of stuck in that are older and are probably not
They
willing
just
to
don't know
change
the
or
fucking law.
yeah, which I'm like, go to somebody else. And I tell people that all the time. If your
Yeah.
doctor's not going to give you what you want or what you need, then go somewhere else.
Agree. You are not. I tell clients that.
That's one of the
about-
actual benefits of perhaps
Yes.
this capitalistic system
Yes.
that we're
Right.
in. Go
Right.
somewhere else.
Oh my God. I
Take
talk
your
about
money
that all the
elsewhere.
time. Exactly. I have a supervisee and I talk about that with her. I'm like, girl, this is a service.
That's right.
That you are
live-
paying a lot of money
And you
for.
can cancel said service.
Right. So you do whatever the hell you want because we are about the same as like restaurants. If you really want to know the truth, like this is capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
So you can just go to a different restaurant. And so you can just go to a different therapist and let them tell you exactly what you want to hear.
Yep. Which is like, I guess, sounds horrible to maybe someone outside of the system, but yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, that's the
Yep,
way it
it's
that's
true.
the
works.
way it is.
I
Yeah,
agree.
that's the way it is. The same thing with doctors. That's why we have the phrase
Mhm.
doctor shopping. People do it all the
Mhm.
time.
Which
Like,
I am no longer seeing that PCP who I was going to, so.
I didn't figure. I see this huge I love talking to NPs or PNPs, like even like physician's assistants who
Mhm.
are like specialized in mental health and any PCP who will listen. I love talking to them. But I know that that is I think a lot of therapists are really scared
Mhm.
to like intimidated maybe is a better word to talk to people within the medical community or maybe just sort of turned off by it, or maybe they don't feel qualified. I don't really know what it is, but you said you have kind of a network of people who that sounds like a
Mhm.
perfect system. Like you do the assessment that is valid and,
Mhm.
but
They know
maybe
me, so they
they
know
know
I'm
you.
valid. Yeah.
Exactly. How did you do that? How did you like set that up?
I mean, I definitely first started referring to the place that I go, the practice I go to.
Like personally?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
tell people, I'm like, "Here's who my provider is, like, love her, go see her." I've, like, consulted with her, so, like, I'll have my psych appointment, and then I'm like, "Oh, hey, I have an ROI for so and so, can we spend another 15 minutes?" Which is really lovely. I also am lucky to office with someone who runs a psychiatric practice, she's a nurse practitioner.
Very cool.
So that is a helpful referral, and then I also network a lot in the Facebook groups, unfortunately, but I reached out, put a post out in a couple groups and said, "Hey, like, I'm an LPC who does these assessments. Are you a provider who is accepting of this and who is really neurodivergent affirming? You know, message me, let me know here, and I'll add you to my list, or I will reach out to you to network more." And that's kind of been it. I do have, I don't know who my clients are ultimately choosing or if
Sure.
they're choosing people off of my list. Obviously, insurance factors in. Everybody I refer to does take insurance, though. Yeah.
So you didn't
Very
have to, like,
cool.
take things to medical offices or anything like that?
No, and I know that's what we're told to do. And what I found out though is that they they don't care about me because I don't take insurance. So they're not really interested in networking with me as,
Mm,
a referral kind of exchange. Most of the I don't know, like most of the people that I have networked with, they run their own small private practices. They probably are not, in a situation where it's an office I can visit. I have a few like larger practices on my list, but I don't really have a personal relationship with them. So it's all very like everyone's running their own private practice. There's maybe, 2 employees max.
mm,
Like
mhm,
with the
mhm.
ones in your network.
Yeah, the ones that
Okay.
I refer
Okay.
to. Yeah. There are no big practices or anything like that. I guess if I needed that or I started to have clients, ask for that as a service, I could certainly look into that, but it hasn't been a necessity yet.
Yeah. And your assessments, they're adults only, right?
18 and up. I've
Oh.
done a 17-year-old before with, an agreement with the parent where it made sense. Like this teenager was not in school anymore. They were working,
Mm.
very high level of intelligence. And actually, I think I had assessed their mom. So mom really liked me. It's a family affair. I love it. That's something that's different
Truly.
than doing counseling work is that I get to assess families too. Often I'll
Mhm.
get one person come in and, then their mom shows up later or their sibling. But that was the only situation where I did someone under,
Yeah.
18.
So do
It
you
just
have people that you refer to, like, in your network too that do the same kinds of assessments that you do, but for kids?
I do not have any kid connections. The
Mm.
process for that is so different.
It's
And
crazy.
What makes it
um,
different?
best practices there are a lot of, well, best practices, if we just talked about observation and really connecting with the schools.
I see.
So there is a lot more kind of external work and coordination that's often needed. So
Mm,
I don't tend to, have that happening for me as far as like a need. I don't have people coming to me asking where they can get assessment for children. There
okay.
are a couple practices in town that offer it, but I don't specifically network with anyone. I do have other providers that I refer to for assessment if for some reason I'm not a good fit, or if it's like someone I know. There's a few, I always say, like, counterparts out there in other parts of the state who have a similar approach that I do and maybe similar-ish pricing. So
Hmm. Well, I was just
Yeah.
thinking about, like, the assessment process for kids, like, I would guess that it's sort of housed mostly in the school system, but, like,
Yeah. Well, because
isn't
you
the
can't
school
sit
system.
down with the kid and do the MIG-DOS, really. I mean, I think
No?
they do have, like, a child and adolescent one, but it's, like, a
Okay,
totally different the way you do it is different. It's not just
I see.
talking and stuff like that, so it's a lot more, like, observational.
Okay. But isn't
Yeah.
the school system kind of, like, maybe incentivized not to diagnose somebody with ADHD or
Well, the school
autism so that they
systems
don't have to
don't.
provide
Yeah.
services, or how does
Yeah.
this work?
The districts don't usually do assessments for ADHD or autism. They refer out, and then you
Mm,
come back with the diagnostic paperwork, and that's how the kids get,
I see. Okay.
accommodations or whatever. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
usually an outside process, which does put the onus on parents. They're not
Yeah.
cheap, especially if you're paying out of pocket, which has been a big thing for me to kind of navigate. But,
Mhm.
you can find some that are covered by insurance, but even not all insurance plans will cover what they call behavioral assessments, even though they're clearly neurodevelopmental.
What a pain in the ass.
Uh-huh.
Crazy.
What's new?
Crazy. Yeah, I'm happy to see some more assessments coming kind of in the neurodivergent, well, autism specific,
Mhm.
realm or population. There's, like, some that I refer to quite a few BCBAs in, like, in the Central Texas area, and they have this cool assessment. I forget what it's called, I'm sure you know what it is, where it's like, they'll do the assessment and then it's basically kinda what you do. Like, they'll do the assessment and it's like they have people that they will send others to, and, like, it's like this
Mhm.
BCBA did the assessment, and then, like, a PCP will be like, "Oh, okay," or a
Oh,
psychiatrist is like, "Oh, okay."
interesting.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's like a
Are
n
they can BCBAs not diagnose?
mm,
Okay, that makes sense then.
they're
Yeah.
similar to counselors, like,
Okay,
it's
so they
like
do the
we
test. So almost
can.
kind of like a psychometrist, run the test, and then someone else interprets it. Okay.
Yep, yep. I mean, they do it, and,
Mhm.
like, but that's kind of how I know a lot of BCBAs kind of get around, like, they'll like, families they need families to have autism assessments, but good luck. You're gonna be on a wait list forever, and insurance is real weird sometimes about who they're gonna cover, kinda just depending, but because of autism mandates in
Mhm.
most states at this point, I think there's at least one autism mandate, like, treatment mandate
Mhm.
for children under 12. It's not adults, unfortunately, but
Mhm.
in all 50 states, I believe there's some form of mandate that BCBAs kind of fall under, and so they
Mhm.
can do these assessments that are essentially, like, autism assessments, and insurance will like, has to, like, pay for it, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can get the autism
I
assessment
literally
and
know
then
nothing about it on the
okay.
child adolescent side, like, at all.
It's complicated.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's complicated. It sounds a lot like what you're doing, that they've just, like the ABA world has kind of found this workaround of, like,
Yep.
yeah, it's not
Interesting.
just psychologists or psychiatrists.
But
Right.
again, the medical model is why we have so many late diagnosed adults, so.
Totally, totally. And then, you're waiting, like, years sometimes to get this assessment, and meanwhile, this kid is falling behind. I mean, so many things happening for this child, and it's like, "Oh, I'll get you in 8 months," and then it's like 8 months comes around, and it's like a 6-hour like, thing, and the results are crazy. The parent is like, "What?" Like, they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know it, and it's such a mess. Like,
Yeah.
so I love that you're doing this.
I wonder if you might talk a little bit about, like, what is the impact on an adult getting one of
Yeah.
these diagnoses? Because I mean, Jazmin works with kids and
Yeah.
I don't, but I can totally understand with kids, like,
Mhm. Why
really, yeah,
bother?
why this is important and
Well,
for the
so
parents, but what does it do for an adult to really, like, get a diagnosis like this
yeah, and it's so
as
funny.
an
I think
adult?
I've kind of learned to market myself in a
Mhm.
pretty specific way. The irony of autism is that you want clarity. So a
Mm,
lot of people are like, "I just need to know." And I'm like, "I fully understand that," which is why I offered that, like, informal process, which is a little less time intensive, a little less expensive. But most people are just here for self-discovery. Obviously, with ADHD, we can medicate. There's a benefit there. That's why I only offer the formal. But for autism, most people, honestly, it's a lot of people whose kids are getting assessed and diagnosed who are then like, oh shit, I might want to look at this. So I have so many people who are excited to come to get a diagnosis so they can tell their kid, hey, I'm also autistic. And it's like this very beautiful moment. So I market to those people on my website. I market the self discovery. I market to people who have had anxiety and depression diagnoses that have never been touched in 25, 30, 45, 50 years. I think the oldest person I've diagnosed at this point was 62. So it is a variety of people who all want this information for different reasons. It's a lot of reassurance. I'm a fan of self-diagnosis, and I think with autism, I'm like, fine, like claim it, claim the neurodivergence, find the community. Obviously, not everyone would agree with that, but I do find self-diagnosis totally valid. But,
Yes, Caitlin. Yes. Like,
well, and it's
yes.
tricky because like the actual diagnosis is an indicator of a disability, so that's kind of a protected group of people. Like it's very complex.
It's so complex and nuanced. Like, I get so many, especially recently, like y'all don't see teens, but y'all, teens are and
it's because
young
it's
adult,
everywhere on TikTok and on Instagram and it's on Facebook. And if you look up one thing or you like something, they're gonna start feeding it to you, which is good and bad.
Good and bad. Yeah, it's good and bad.
I occasionally do
Mostly
have people
bad,
come in.
I'm gonna say.
Well, I have a lot of people who come in, they're like, I never considered autism until I saw this content.
Right.
And then they come in and I'm like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. This makes sense for you. They're like, I literally never would have thought about it. Or if someone had mentioned it to me, I would not have been open to it except for this content creator that opened that door for me. So I love it in that sense. I very, very rarely get people coming in for assessment who are wrong. And we do have a lot of research that says like the statistics of an adult coming in to get a diagnosis, they're probably right. God, again, I wish I had the number for like how many people I've done these with. I maybe have 2 or 3 people who I've been like, you do not have ADHD. And sometimes I'm like, oh shit, that makes me sound like I'm just throwing diagnoses out there, but I'm not. I have to remind myself of that. And when I have to say no to people, I'm like, oh God, I'm very like internally distraught about it. And same thing with autism, like only once or twice has someone come through and it's not the case. But I am seeing a lot more, young people, Gen Zers coming in who didn't even know what it was. And then they kind of fall into the rabbit hole and really start researching and learning. And they're like, oh shit.
It is at the same time like not enough information and way too fucking much information. Like it's so odd. It's like I have
misinformation because people, I saw a video the other day of a woman. It was a video about eye contact and
get out of here.
Which is a thing.
Stereotypes.
It is a thing. It is a thing.
And I am that person too. Like when I'm listening to you, I'm looking at you. And then when I'm talking, I'm kind of all over the place. And everyone's like, oh, that's an ADHD thing. No, it's not. Like eye contact is not an ADHD thing. It is 100% a trait of autism. It doesn't usually show up in the stereotypical way because most people have learned to mask at this point in their lives. They're like, I can make eye contact, but I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. It feels too intimate. It's distracting to look at someone's face. It's hard for me to concentrate. That to me tells me the trait is still present. It just doesn't show up in the stereotypical way, which is the whole point of like doing high masking, specialization for assessments.
Like doing a robust assessment process.
Yes. And knowing what the non-stereotypical presentations are.
Right. Like so many issues that I have with like the TikTok stuff or whatever that people are coming in with. It's like, okay, but like even the DSM is not, it's not necessarily accounting for the like learning via socialization, like just experiences in life. Like we could have a child who certainly has autism, but can make eye contact like nobody's business. And then nobody like bats an eye or is like making really good grades or something like that. Nobody is going to notice this person, but it's not like it's not because they don't fit that criteria. Yeah, they don't fit that criteria, but it's like, just because they don't fit this criteria doesn't mean that the diagnosis is not there. It means that they have been socialized.
I would say it also means the criteria sucks.
It also, yes, that's a whole, we don't have time for that. But yes, yes, we have, go listen to all of our other episodes. It shows up all the time. The DSM is so weird. Yeah. But I have a lot of teens who are coming in and they're just like, I don't want to self-diagnose, but I think this. And I'm like, me too, dude. Like, I think so. They're like, are you sure? I don't want to cause too much attention.
Which
and I'm
I always tell people, I'm like, someone who is like falsely self-diagnosing isn't going to have a second thought. They're like, oh yeah, I'm autistic.
Boom.
The ones who are worried about it and questioning it are probably the ones that need the help and the support and the diagnosis more than anyone.
100%. Yes. 100%.
It's that uncertainty.
Yeah.
That is actually,
they don't want to claim something that's not theirs. They don't want to claim an identity, join a community unless they really should.
Mhm.
And I think anyone being cognizant of that is already on the right track.
Right. Right.
Fair. Yeah. Wow. Well, look, we are so far in this and we still haven't actually asked you what do you wish you had known before getting into what you're doing now.
I think just in general, private practice is the time and the patience involved. I am not a
Mhm.
patient person. So that I think has been the hardest is just really understanding the importance of networking and niching and how much time it actually takes to do that. I mean, the relationship building needed. I've been like, that has changed everything for me. They don't talk about how to do that. They don't talk about how to run a private practice, obviously in grad school, which made sense at the time, I think, when associates couldn't do it. I think that is certainly a need now. I mean, that's really the biggest thing is I've had to do so much like self-starting and problem solving. I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you're not a good problem solver, you don't want to go into private practice. Those are the people on the Facebook groups saying I've been in private practice for 5 years and I can't keep a caseload. There's something that they're not doing or learning or
Yeah.
trying to fix or not niching down. Like I've done so much work. I don't have a Psychology Today anymore. I don't advertise anywhere anymore. Like my website does its work. My networking does its work. I've taken all this time to learn about SEO. Just like the personal learning and growth, I think, and how long it really takes to see the results has been mind-blowing to me. And no one really tells you that. Or maybe they do and you just don't really understand, or you're like, I'm going to be the exception. Like I'm just going to have a full caseload. And that's maybe how it goes for some people, but for most of us, it's a lot of trial and error,
Yeah,
which is scary.
how did you learn these lessons that you're articulating right now? Like, do you think you just learned them by experiencing them or did you have a mentor? Like, how did you
It's just
apply?
been me. I don't have
Okay.
a mentor. I mean, I definitely have, senior clinicians who I have learned from in some capacity, but as far as all the assessment neurodivergent stuff goes, like that's very much been me. I've always been a researcher. I've always been a little bit of like a loner when it comes to my own education and stuff too. I like to learn on my own at my own pace. I love like the creativity of problem solving with all of this too. I do find, private practice to be very creatively satisfying, especially with assessments. Yeah, it's just been me kind of saying this isn't working and I need to pivot. Yeah, lots of workshops on SEO, lots of workshops on how to copyright, how to actually speak to clients. And I did all that for free. Like the resources are out there. You
What?
just got to look
Yeah.
for them.
That sounds so I'm just sitting here and I'm like, "Oh, wow, she's talking about
Wincing.
me." Yeah, like, when you were when you were like
Like it does. I mean, sometimes I'm like, I feel very lucky. Like this is luck. I said this to my therapist earlier, and then I have to remind myself, like, I also worked really hard. So some of
yeah.
it's luck, some of it is also hard work. But I
Oh,
think
yes.
the niching has been everything in the past 2 years for me.
I would agree.
Uh, yeah,
It's been the case for me.
I don't have the patience for it. Like, I really and it's like, I am so catastrophize-y, and I am a complainer, and I can't not do things, like, with other people. So I can't. You're talking about me when you're, like, 5 years in. I didn't get 5 years in.
What, maybe 8 months? How
But
long?
that's the
It
thing
was
is
a
like if you don't
year.
enjoy it and it's not like I find it fun. I find it
Yeah.
fucking fun. And like I love it. And if it's not fun or exciting to you, then yeah, why would you push
Okay.
You
yourself
don't
and
have
force
to.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Right,
don't have to.
right,
You don't have to.
right.
It is not it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be for
It's not
everybody. I
for
mean,
everybody.
we talk
No.
about that all the time, that myth of the private practice is the gold standard. It's like,
No.
no, actually it's not for everybody. Like you
No.
do need to
No.
have certain um
It's fucking
maybe certain
exhausting. It's
personality
terrifying.
traits
Yeah.
really for it to be fun and engaging
Yeah.
and gonna work for you because I think partially because they don't teach us anything about private practice in grad school, but even if they did, like Jazmin and I talk about it all the time. We're
Mhm.
gonna put a curriculum together. We're gonna put that class in school, right? It's great. But
Mhm.
even if we did that, like let's just pretend, you still in private practice are gonna have so
Mhm.
many things that you're gonna have to figure the fuck out
Yep.
for yourself.
Yep.
I mean, there's no way we could teach everything in one class. Like
Mhm.
particularly in whatever niche you do decide to go, there's going to be unique things that you're going to have to figure out, that you're going to have to be creative about, that you're going to have to problem solve about. And like, if you don't kind of have that drive, if you don't
Yep.
have that interest, if that doesn't sound fun to you, then
Mhm.
you know what? Private practice isn't for you. And
Right.
that's okay. That is A-okay.
Yes. I wish that that was highlighted more, I
Sure.
guess. Like,
Mhm.
instead of all the way one way or all the way the other way, like,
Mm-hmm.
I do wish that I had 'Cause, like, it's taken me a long time to just learn that private practice isn't for me. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like it, and I
Mhm.
don't even really like group practice. Like, I
Yeah.
really kinda prefer to be in a clinic. Like,
Yeah.
I like stuff like that.
Mhm.
And like, I I felt so much shame about it for such a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
finally kind of embracing it, but it's like, dude, I'm like, we're in this profession now, and now I'm like, "You know what? I don't really care." You know? But
That's
but
the beauty of I think that's the beauty of having these licenses, though, is that you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. There's so many different roles, there's so many ways to be in
There's so many
practice.
things you could do with it.
Yes. Well, and I have a side hustle. Like,
Oh,
get
what's your
income.
side hustle?
I
Yeah.
resell. Some people hate resellers, but I'm a reseller. I go to the thrift store,
Whoa.
I find crap that people don't want and got rid of, and I resell it on Poshmark and eBay.
Hell yeah.
Really?
Hell
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah.
that's what got me through grad school. I did like
Oh,
25K
shit.
doing that one year.
Whoa.
That was before. I mean, like, before taxes and everything, and, that was the gross. But,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still do that on the side as a
Still,
way
that's not
to,
nothing.
A, get my dopamine. I love to shop. Get a little extra money on the side,
This is
like,
fucking
some months it's
genius.
better than others. Sometimes I don't have as much money to contribute, but, like, even just the ability to, like, do something part-time and also do something else has been amazing. So I really kinda have 3 different businesses. Like, I have the therapy, I have the assessments, I have the reselling. It works for me, but it's not gonna work for everybody. Also, like, the
Yeah.
ADHD brain, like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
I need it.
Right.
Well,
Like,
that diversity too.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
100%. All the different ways I get to use my brain,
yeah.
not having, money be dependent on one thing is really
ugh,
helpful.
so
I've had
stressful.
to do so much therapy work around money and scarcity and, like, my family shit, like, that's a whole thing.
Mm.
But, yeah, I mean, it's private practice is certainly not for everybody. It's scary, it's a slog, there's so many systems that have to be in place and running
Mhm.
well. I don't
You
I
have
don't
to be
take
ready to pivot.
insurance. I don't plan on taking
Yeah.
insurance, that's a whole other thing, like, it's a lot.
I don't take
Yes.
insurance either. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
I struggle with that too, the ethics of that, but, like, I
Nope.
have
I
figured out
don't.
a system that works. I do sliding scale for therapy
Yep.
clients. I offer these assessments at a way insane reduced rate compared to what you can get from a
Comparatively.
psychologist. It's
Mhm.
insane.
Mm.
Um, that's hard for me though too, to be like, am I undervaluing myself? But, what I am doing works.
I know
Yeah.
it's like we're building, it's like, oh man, I forget who said it, but it's like we're building the airship in the air. Like we're just getting it
The
Mhm,
off the
airplane.
ground. The
mhm.
airplane, the airship,
Your ship.
whatever, the air train.
But
We're
yes, yeah,
building it in the air.
it all
Yeah, it's like
cobbled together.
we're just like tired of, this new kind of generation of therapists, I really think are like tired of just not like yourself, like not being able or not being feeling competent,
Mhm,
but then seeing it done and being like, stop it right now. You didn't even look at that kid or you didn't
yeah.
even talk to that person.
Mhm.
You think you know more than them. I'm about to get on a rant on psychologists, so I need to stop. Okay, for real talk though. Okay, I'm speaking to my former self, like private
Mhm.
practice. Like, what do I just do? Like, if someone wants to, like a new clinician wants to go into therapy, they're like, oh yeah, Caitlin is totally speaking my language, but I don't know shit about shit. And then, like, what do? You like look up in Google, like, what do I do for private practice? How did
I
you start?
actually I made a course.
What do you
I
mean you
have
made a course?
I have a course. Well, because I used to be in the LPC Associates of Texas group, and
Okay.
I got very impatient with seeing the same fucking questions asked over and over again.
Okay.
So I made like a little that's on like Udemy. It's a little course. It is not updated. I need to go update that shit, so don't go looking for it. I mean, it's probably still mostly good. But I made like a course where it's just me talking over PowerPoint slides, and I think it's $30, and it's a 4-part thing of like, is private practice even right for you? The pros and cons of private practice. I do like a financial breakdown of what my numbers looked like the first couple of years I was still an associate. What resources you need. Who do you need in your back pocket? You need a tax agent or a CPA. And I have a
That's so
checklist. I have a
cool.
spreadsheet that you can get. So I do have that.
That's so cool. Okay, so
That,
they just look
you know,
you up. Yeah, okay, so
yeah.
everyone, you
We'll
don't
just
have
link for
to
that. The
yeah,
I'm
old, unupdated
yeah.
Well, and
course.
it's not
It's
that
still good.
unupdated, like, I think
I'm
the
sure it's still
information's
good.
still good, I need to go look at it, but I think it's
Yeah.
called, like, Private Practice Kickstart or something, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's $30, and
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people purchase it. I even have some friends that I have made because they purchased my course someone who's even in my consultation group now. So it's cool how that has connected me to people too. But again, like teacher roots, I can't help it. I like to share knowledge.
I think the first question though is like, is
Mhm.
it right for you? And
Yes.
Oh
there
yeah,
is,
that's what I start with in that.
yeah, you really do
Mhm.
need to spend a little time like self-reflecting. And I think maybe one of the reasons why people struggle to self-reflect on that is because there's a lot of myths about
Yeah.
what private practice will be like and what it won't be like, what agency work is like and what it won't be like. I mean, we've had great conversations with other counselors who work in agencies, who work in
Mhm.
hospital settings, and they
Yeah,
actually
they
love
love
their
it.
job.
Yep,
Like it's
they love it.
entirely possible to
Mhm.
love your agency job. That's a real possibility, you know? But
100%.
but again, there's so many like myths out there and extreme perspectives about one side or the other that
Yeah.
means like when you get out of grad school, a lot of the times it seems like there's a real there's a real lack of like just measured, reasonable, like
Yeah.
here's kind of how it's going to go. Like
Mhm.
these are the main things that you can expect in this zone
Mhm.
versus that zone. And then with that information you could maybe more accurately self-reflect on like, okay, how does that work for me?
Mhm.
Um
Absolutely.
or not. And then do I want to learn the rest? Because
Mhm.
I think that's the first thing because there is so much more you have to learn if you're going to do private practice. Like
I'm even just thinking about, like,
take a
your
minute.
ability to hold your own boundaries.
Mhm.
Like, how much of your
Money,
own.
like what you were saying.
Yeah. I've
Like
had.
if you can't talk about money with clients, you're not going to private practice
Yeah.
because you will have to. And if
People
you work in an
pleaser,
agent, you don't have to
not
talk
a
about
great you can't people please in your own practice, like, you have to
yes,
hold
yes,
your cancellation
yes.
policies, you have to say no to people, you have to tell people you're not a good fit, you have to refer people out, like, it is a somewhat confrontational role that you have to hold
There's
sometimes,
a
and
lot of
that
challenges in
is also not for everybody.
Yeah,
I'm very much like a no-nonsense bitch, I'm like, "Look, I don't care what you think about me anymore, I'm about to be 38, like, I'm done with that shit," but you either I mean, that I to me, that is very much a sink or swim, like, if you cannot
yes.
do those things, it's gonna be really hard for you, and you're gonna be overworked, and you're gonna have a crazy schedule, and you're gonna say yes to too many people and things, and you're gonna be losing money to cancellations all the time, and clients are gonna take advantage of that, and it on and on and on. Fun, fun, fun.
So, yeah, just everyone who's out there that's like, "Is this for me? Do I wanna be in private practice? I'm
Happy
in
to
grad
chat with
school."
you.
Yeah, I was about to say, just look at our show notes, and we'll link the Udemy thing, and because that would have
I
been
need to find it,
incredible.
yeah.
I don't because that was my struggle. I just, like, didn't even know I felt so unequipped because 'cause I'd only
Mhm.
ever done agency work, and, like, I was just and then I was told that that was the right thing to do, but then I was also told that, like, the gold standard is private practice, so that's what I should
Yeah.
be shooting for, and then I'm like, "Okay, well, now I'm here." And then the whole "now what" thing where it's like, "Okay, is this the top?" Because I was under the impression
Mhm.
that once you are in private practice, like, you've made it.
Right.
But now I'm like,
Well, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah.
I feel like that's just signing on to a fuck ton more work
Mhm.
that, frankly, I don't even know how to do.
Mhm.
So, nor do I even want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that we'll just link that so no one's out there Googling.
And
Like,
I do have plans to someday update that, but I have 8,000,000 other things on my never ending to-do list, but I do vouch for the information.
okay.
I would like to even do an update, where I talk about, you know, progress of the practice, what's worked and what hasn't worked over the last 4 years,
I
so,
love
but,
that idea.
The
you know.
Yeah.
transparency is so valuable. So
Yeah.
valuable.
Yeah.
Oh, and I
Eh,
even have a section on there, by the way, about, like, marketing, about, like, how to write
mm.
good copy, like, what bad copy looks like and what good copy looks like.
I don't even know what
Um
that means.
Well, like, it's like, on the
Words on your
Psychology
website.
Today on your Psychology Today, that first paragraph, everyone's like, "I'm love working with anxiety and depression, and I will help you
Boo.
walk slowly with your emotions into a better life." Like, that nobody gives a
Bad.
shit. That doesn't mean anything, that doesn't tell a client what you can do for them, but that's, like, what you see over and over and over and
Yeah.
over is this generic language where they talk about themselves, and I have training and CBT and I. So I have a whole section on that of, like, "Don't do that. Here's how you do it
Awesome.
instead."
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of stuff I, like, get very excited about.
That is
That's also
great for you.
super needed. Yeah, super needed.
Out there, man, I'm in a group where people, like, post their websites. Oof. Not that mine's perfect. I have, like, hand built mine. It is not the perfect website. But man,
There's some bad ones out there.
There's some real
I
bad
get
ones.
referrals on some of those Facebook groups where I'm like, I'm not sending a client this website because the website's so ugly and horrible.
So bad. Yeah.
So people forget about that piece.
Yeah. Yep.
You gotta be a
Wow.
brand.
You.
Yeah, that's the
I
other
know.
thing. If you don't want to be a brand and you aren't comfortable marketing yourself, like private practice is definitely not for you.
Yes. Ew.
You don't want to
It's
talk
hard to get
about
used to.
yourself and
Oh, it's
what you
weird. It
do,
feels horrible.
but you're not gonna make it if you don't.
No,
You know,
Right.
no.
you have to be able to talk about that kind of thing.
Yep.
And
Totally.
if you're not willing, that is okay.
It is
100%.
okay.
It's a pain in the ass, and I have made
Yeah.
myself miserable and sick because of it. And it's taken me 4 years to like be like, all right, this shit's good. Like I've got the systems, things are flowing, it's working. And I take time off. I take lots of time off. Like I've made it work.
I like what you're saying too, right there about like maybe also having some realistic standards. Okay, let's say you decide, look, I am down for all that private practice
Mhm.
nonsense. Okay, great. And it is still going to take you
Yeah.
a long time to really get to your place, right? And so if you don't have patience, like if you're not
Mhm.
willing to kind of wait that out and do the things that are going to build you to the place that you could get to,
And not
like then
panic through that
yeah, not
time.
panic. Yeah. And I want to speak on like my sort of experience has been like I have been immensely privileged in that I have had like the luxury of the another income. Like at a certain point I got married and I had health insurance
The health
provided for
insurance
me.
and the
Like it
marriage
was a
is a
big
big ol'
deal, right?
oh,
When you're
mhm.
starting a private practice, like
Yep.
just you, it's solo, it doesn't come with insurance. And that is a huge
Yep.
expense. And so like I'm very lucky in my personal experience where I had some of those things in place. And so it meant I could be like, yeah, it's going to take me
Yep.
4 or 5 years to get to the place where like the referral system is working. Like I've got my niche down. I've got my
That's where my side hustle
pitch.
came
But
in,
like
you know?
you got to
Yeah.
have a plan. You got to have a
Yes.
plan to stay the course. And some
Yes.
people like either can't afford that or just didn't really realize like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
going to take like 4 or 5 years
I
before I'm
remind
ever going
people
to
all the
see the
time, you can start a
return.
private practice and see 2 clients, 3 clients.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quit your day job, but like,
100%.
transition into it. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the side hustle totally supported me through that. And I have a partner, we're married. He works at ACC. Like, he's not rolling in the dough either. Like, yeah, I got good health insurance, but that's not it's still, that's
I mean, that's something,
$350 a
man. You know
month,
what I mean? That's a
you
savings.
know?
If you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Oh my god, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And I always remind people too, I am also not rolling in the dough. Like, all the boundaries that I have, yeah, I could be making a lot more money than I am, but I am comfortable and
My
it is
time.
fine. And that's a whole mind fuck too of like, what's progress? How do you know you're being successful? You should be making more money every year.
Oh boy.
And I don't, that's a lot of unlearning too.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
Instead, fun stuff.
Caitlin, I could talk to you probably all day. You
Yeah,
are exactly
I
my vibe.
have that problem.
Stop it, Caitlin. Okay, we are coming to the end. What kind of resources do you have for mental health, like
Yeah.
professionals or mental health stuff?
Mhm. I think as far as like maybe where to learn more about ADHD and autism assessment, I think it is good for professionals to be aware of what that looks like. I
Agree.
often have clients come
Yeah.
to me where they're like, my therapist doesn't think I could be autistic and like really downplay like, oh, that's not you. So I think I thought about doing a training for that too. But I think really I
I
would
think that's a
take
great idea.
the basic 1-hour courses. I really love the resources that the Chicago school has.
Yeah.
They have a whole
Okay.
database of continuing education courses that are either free or pretty affordable. They have a woman who does a training there on ADHD assessment and autism assessment that is about an hour, hour and a half long, maybe $30. Excellent resources that could be a great starter for people if you do really want to get more in depth. Like I said, I love Amanda Moses's offerings and content. I love how she works. I'm trying to think what else might be helpful for people.
That's
Obviously,
great.
just like reading. Reading is good. Read some books. I love Dr. Devin Price's books. They've got a great resource, or he has a great resource on autism, unmasking autism. I think was his
Oh,
second
yes,
book.
that one's good. Yeah,
Love
Unmasking
that.
Autism's good.
Love Laziness Does Not Exist. That was his first book, and I think that connects really well with ADHD too,
Yes,
and
yes, yes, yes.
autism. But
Totally.
I mean, I think really just like get the basics. Take a training that tells you what updated research is saying.
Take a good training. Don't take a
Yes,
weird one.
yes.
Like,
But I
take a
love
good one.
this because I come from the same maybe business perspective as you, Caitlin, in that I have very narrowly niched down, which means I don't know everything and I don't
No.
want to know everything,
No.
but I
Yeah.
do want to know enough to be able to make sure that people get to the right places, get to the right, go. But I need to know the basics maybe about a lot of things in order to be able to do that effectively. And so having something that is geared towards other professionals is like, look, here are the basics that you need to know so that that way you can properly refer. Like, I would like that for like all things, actually.
I
You know
know.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's
I
all I
agree.
need to know. What do I need to know so that I can refer?
I know. We just need to come up with a bunch of
I was
checklists.
gonna say business venture where everybody like we have one website where everybody records a training and you can like purchase it as a package. I don't know.
What a cool idea. We're going to talk more about this.
Maybe instead of whatever kind of CEU counter whatever that we have to do now in Texas,
Oh, the
whatever,
CE broker.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
whatever
broker.
the heck that is. Maybe we just, I don't know, involve clinicians.
Crowdsource our
forbid.
knowledge. Yeah.
Groundbreaking.
Okay, what about like a human resource? This could be a movie, this could be a TV show, this could be an activity. What does everybody need to do once?
Just like in life.
In life.
Yes.
But yeah, I fucking love
Totally.
Degrassi. Life-changing.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't know what that is.
Degrassi?
Oh my gosh. It's a Canadian teen drama that originally aired in the 80s and then they redid it in the 2000s and it lasted for like ever and
Drake was on it and he was in a wheelchair.
and he got shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Kids got
I love it. I love a
stabbed,
teen drama.
drugs.
This is great.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I genuinely just like I was stressed writing that answer and I'm stressed right now. I'm like, shit, I don't know.
That's
Because
perfect.
it depends.
No,
like go on.
fine.
You're done. You're done. You answered.
Degrassi. Degrassi. Completely agree. Yeah.
It's over.
Completely agree. Oh my gosh. I loved it. This has been such a joy. Okay, everyone, check out the resources for real in our show notes. But Caitlin.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug?
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think I mentioned the name of my practice.
Yes.
Oh, no,
plug
that's okay.
away.
Yeah, what you got?
'Cause that's what we will
live-
also include.
Live Better Austin, counseling and therapy, livebetteraustin.com. I am on Instagram, but I don't use that Instagram handle very much, but you can get in touch with me. I am on Instagram, so you can find me there.
Or she's got a badass website.
Perfect.
I do. I love the website. It's a work in progress. I'm changing it all the time. It's fun to play with. But yes, lots of information there. Contact is there. I do have some resources linked there. I probably need to update that page too. But yes, you can learn lots about me there.
Sick.
Perfect. We're going to link to it in the show notes, y'all. If you want to get a hold of Caitlin for private practice details, assessments,
Workshops or trainings. Never done it, but would be open to it.
Totally.
Love it. Something that is needed is if you would develop like a training for other professionals about what you do, and then just like group practices could, listen to you, have you in to talk to their peeps.
Yeah. Put it on
Love
the
it.
list.
Put it on the list.
That's right. Put it on the list. Always be growing. Thank you, Caitlin. This has been awesome.
Thank you all so much. This was fun.
Bye, everyone.